Welcome back to Small Business Diaries. I'm your host, Jon Davis, and today I'm not here with Steve Ledgerwood for a change. He's in New York. So what we've done is we've handed the short straw to Rose McMillan, who's our content manager at Capsule. So Rose, thank you for agreeing to co-host while Steve's out, but wanted to kind of quickly. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got onto the podcast in the initial instance, what you do at Capsule, and a little bit about you?
Yeah, of course. So thank you for having me. I've got some pretty big shoes to fill with Steve being gone. But yeah, I've been in Capsule for about 2 years, and I work mostly with John, helping him execute the content strategy. But I do have a background in journalism, so hopefully this shouldn't be anything too scary today. But I'm a bit out of practice, so all be nice to me in the comments.
Yeah, please do be nice to Rose in the comments. And I've said it privately a few times, but now publicly in front of our several hundred listeners, thank you again, Rose, for stepping in to Steve's shoes. And who knows, if you do a great job, maybe we can get Steve out of a job. And maybe he won't have
Let's not get
to.
too hasty. I don't want to keep my job at the end of the day.
No. That aside, I want to talk about our guest. So today we've got Kate Edwards, who is the co-founder of an organization called Another Mother. It's an award-winning admin and business support agency. It offers UK-based virtual assistants, online business management, and customer service solutions for their issues. And essentially, from what I've been reading on their website, Kate helps business owners get some of their time back, restore a little bit of calm in their lives. And in terms of Kate's background, she spent years and years and years in TV, radio, and the corporate world. So I'm really interested to actually dive into this. So let's kick things off straight away, Kate. Tell us exactly what Another Mother does and how you help.
Well, thanks very much for inviting me, John, and thanks, Rose. It's my pleasure to be on this podcast today. Another Mother was set up, we're actually 10. And we were set up really because of the need of small businesses not being able to get the admin, the business support and the customer service that they needed. Myself and my co-founder, Anna Cow, had both successfully run our own small businesses. We'd both worked corporately. We'd both worked in the media, etc. And we were at a time in our lives where the corporate buzz just wasn't filling it for us. It wasn't doing it for us and our families. We had small children. I didn't want to be told, Kate, we need you in Chicago next week, and I missed my daughter's first nativity, etc., etc. And remember reading like bedtime stories at 1 o'clock during my lunchtime for her when she was at home with daddy putting her to bed. And so we decided that actually we'd branch out. We became a virtual assistant agency really before people were doing that. I know they're kind of 2 a penny these days. But as I said, 10 years ago, we decided to start supporting small businesses. We started with what we knew, which was really in the child activity settings sector. And we just started helping them really with their customer inquiries, setting up their booking systems, making sure payments were paid, chasing for invoices, etc. And it really just grew and grew, so much so that it did take Anna 2 years, but she was able to say to me, look, Kate, you don't need the golden handcuffs. You don't need the holiday pay and the sickness pay. We've got a really good business model. It's working. You can leave. So here we are.
Amazing. And this is such a common theme I found, like, because I've been doing this for a little while now. It's about reclaiming elements of your life and, rejection of the corporate world and the pressures. So I just wanted to scratch a little bit into that a little bit more, if that's okay, and what really catalyzed that and the work-life balance that you now have.
Mm-hmm. So I think it was really, we knew it was really, really important for us. we knew that obviously what comes with that, it might be a drop in salary, but also gives you the freedom. My girls are 13 and 10 now. So actually, they don't need mum, well, they don't really want mum around all the time. But it's really important for me that I pick them up from school at 3 o'clock. And even if they come home and they take that snack and they slam their bedroom door, I'm here. In case anything has gone down or anything they want to talk about. And I think that was just a choice for our family, that's what I wanted to do. But I also, from my own kind of aspirations, I really wanted to own and run a successful business. My other business is very small and it's just me, painting ceramics. And so I had that bug. And I really wanted to, scratch that itch and get on with it. But also, not only was it about supporting small businesses with the things we've talked about with regards to their admin and giving them their life back and them being able to choose. Perhaps they want to work harder. Perhaps they want to play golf on a Friday afternoon. But perhaps they want to always be there to read their kid the bedtime story and go to nativity, etc. But also for us, it was really important to be able to create a workforce. And we have had men work for us. We're not just mothers. We're not just women, but we do tend to attract women because we offer flexible solutions to working. And we've had some really, really highly qualified, talented ladies come through to us. One of which has been with us over 9 years, who's, a fantastic accountant. But she didn't want I'm commuting into London every day. I'm away from my kids for 12 hours. A lot of her work, she can, she started by I'll do an hour when they nap. And also, I'll go back to it and I can still do bookkeeping, etc. at 7 o'clock at night when I've put them down. So it's really, not just for us, but being able to offer that to other people, whatever their commitments. It might not be family commitments, or it might be caring commitments, or it might be that, they want to do stuff all day, but they want to have some income and work flexibly.
I got a couple of things that I wanted to scratch a little bit more into. So the book, you mentioned you had the book to build a business, and you had a really successful ceramics business on the side. When did this bug kind of really start to form, and has it always been there? This entrepreneurial spirit?
I think so. I think so. As you kind of reeled off a little bit of my CV, I haven't had a uniform career. I am 44 years old. I'm not 100% sure I still know what I want to do in the future, and it doesn't have to be linear. And it's hilarious. My 13-year-old's starting her GCSEs next year, and they're saying, "What do you want to do in the future?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it." Actually, opportunities arise and you take the chances, and what you fancy doing at the time, but it's about work ethic. To answer your question, yeah, I'm not really sure because obviously as a languages student, I didn't become a teacher or a translator after university. I became a radio presenter. So I did that for a few years. My husband and I met through radio, working at Global in London, and moved to Channel 4 television. And actually, I had having been made redundant from Global 3 months previously. 10 days into my contract at Channel 4, they decided not to launch any radio stations. So I was about to get married without a job, wondering what to do. The financial markets had crashed in 2008. All advertising had been pulled, etc. And I was really lucky because they said, we reckon, you've got transferable skills. How do you fancy working in HR? Which sounded, as sexy as I've just said. But actually, I mean, if you're going to work in HR, Channel 4 is not a bad place to be. So I became a talent development coordinator and went from there, really. 2 years later, I was headhunted by Mars and spent the rest of my career there. And I think, all the organisations I've worked for have been absolutely brilliant, but I think there's something about wanting to earn your own money for you rather than putting more hundreds of or thousands of pounds into somebody else's pocket.
Is it
And
control as
more
well?
than that,
Having
yeah.
control of your own destiny.
Yeah, and I think also, I look back now and I think, especially as a learning and development person, if somebody had to have a PDR tomorrow and they said, right, let's work more on I don't know, managing your creativity, or how do you steer the bus and allow somebody else to drive it, I think I would just be really uncomfortable, because it's really difficult having goals and having, these things are great to challenge you and to test you and show where you need to progress in your career, but I don't have to do that as my own boss anymore. And actually my self-awareness is, has increased greatly by doing this and taking feedback and listening to people still.
Yeah, well, that's really great. And I guess another thing I want to follow up on is you were talking about, your kids, and they're like, what the hell do we want to do? And it was very similar. Not my kid. I mean, she's 10 months old. She's not quite there yet. But I mean, like, when I was growing up, because I'm just a little bit younger than you. I'm 38. But like, I remember the intense pressure that I felt when I was like, your kid's age, like, what the hell are you going to do? And a bit like you, I've had a very varied career. I've been a span, worked in the comedy industry. I've worked in marketing, I've worked in sales. I have a degree in computer science, and the thing that you said that really resonated and stuck with me is that work ethic and that mentality, and that resilience, and finding a way, and it's okay, like, to our listeners, that it's okay to not have a plan. If the plan is to set up like a, consultancy for virtual assistants to provide value, that's the way that you provide value. You'll find, your steer and direction. What I want to do now, is I want to move on a little bit, maybe bring Rose in.
Yeah, so obviously you said, you took that leap. It was something that you'd already sort of started a business on the side, but this was going to be sort of your main business where you were going to be, the leader in command, the person in charge. But what were those early days like? Because we often hear like the biggest challenge people face is sort of getting those first customers through the door and really making a name for yourself. So how did you sort of go about building a client base?
Yeah, so there's no way I would have left my corporate job without already having, I think I had 4 or 5 clients. I knew I could survive on the salary that was bringing in, and we knew that we could replicate it across other industries. And actually, it was quite organic in that. Well, still to date, actually, a lot of our clients come through word of mouth, come through because we've done a good job. And sometimes our clients don't stay with us forever. We will teach them how to manage it, put in the systems in place so that they know how to run it themselves, because that's quite hard at times. And then sometimes they'll say, "Oh, thank you very much. I'm good now." But if they're pleased with the result, that they will speak highly of us. And obviously, we have hundreds of clients that have come through our books that way. Yeah, it is tough, and you do worry about it. We also made a decision, because I wasn't needing to work from an office down south, that we actually moved to the Midlands, to Nottingham, where my husband's from. And that really was for also quality of life. My husband was commuting into London, was taking 2.5 hours there and back every day, not seeing the kids as much. And so it really was better for everyone. I did find it quite isolating when I moved up here, because people didn't really understood what I did, and obviously I sit in my office kind of not speaking to that many people all day every day. So just pushing yourself through, really. And I'm really lucky. I don't think I could have done this without a co-founder. I think Anna and I are very yin and yang. She is very big picture, creative. We can do this. And I'm kind of the operational one on, well, how are we going to do this? Well, how do I implement this? And I kind of, she looks after the big picture. She does our marketing and our books. And I'm more the person who liaises with all of our clients and our team. But without her confidence, I'm not sure I would have made that leap. And I think actually my parents were very I think they're a little bit risk averse, which isn't a bad thing. But I think they were like, Katie, what on earth? You're going to leave your job and do this full time? And I think we're of a generation now that we value more our time and what's important to us. And I was kind of like, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that it doesn't work and I go back and get another corporate job.
Yeah, and you have the skills, to go and do that.
Yeah, I think we post COVID, we've sort of forgotten what it was like having those sort of 2 hour commutes. Because I mean, like you said, 10 years ago, that was just so the norm. Like I entered the workforce pretty much right as COVID hit, so I've never sort of experienced that. But when I think back to like my parents and how the idea of sitting in an office, traveling for 2 hours every day, like it's so unproductive and it can be so draining, especially if you have a family and kids at home. So it's just great that we've moved past that so much.
Yeah, and I think also, if I can say, like what we've moved past as well in kind of changing our careers is that our parents, and definitely the generation before, they had a career for life. You become an accountant, you work at this firm, and you go and you work until you're 60, probably as it was then. We'll be working the rest of our lives. But that was kind of secure and it was what happened. Whereas now, I think we've got the flexibility to change and to also work, with or for companies that our values are aligned with. And I think that's really, really important.
Oh, I agree, completely. Um, I wanted to actually move on a little bit, but more thinking about like when you actually just first got started and wanting like instead of thinking about like things that you mentioned previously, like what are the things that you really struggled with when you first got up and running? Initially, what were the things that in terms of business processes, were there any things like that you really struggled with, or beyond like getting a network and things like that, anything that you can think of?
I have to say that it wasn't too bad. And I think because Anna and I knew what we were doing, and because really what we're doing is teaching other people the processes of setting up a business and running it operationally well, that wasn't massively a concern. There are
Would
there
hope you
are
know what you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, like you might become a plumber because you're really good on the tools and you've done a great apprenticeship and you've learnt well and you know where to get your parts and you've got your contacts and you get your van, etc. But what you might not know is like how to set up as a self-trader or how to become a limited company or when do you hit that VAT threshold and stuff like that, and how do you keep all your clients, in a CRM and know when they're next, perhaps they need a boiler maintenance call, or, are you a window cleaner and you know that number 11 are on a 2 monthly and number 12 are on a 2 weekly, those kind of things. Like we're really systematic and good, sometimes maybe a bit to our detriment because you can take sometimes some of the emotion out of it, of doing that. That's not what we struggled with, I don't think. I think what I found it quite lonely. I found it quite hard not going to an office. My husband would get home from work and I'd be like, la, 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 when he got home. He'd be like, you haven't spoken to anyone today, have you? No. And
How do you deal with that loneliness?
um trying to find things to do, so not just business stuff. I mean, I do network quite a bit locally, but finding other things to do. I had a brief spell at trying netball, and realized I'm still rubbish at it as I was in 1993, so I'm not sure why I bothered. But trying to meet people locally, getting involved. I became a school governor, etc., etc., and getting involved with other things. So we're really lucky. I'm a Nottingham Panthers season ticket holder. My children and my husband go to Nottingham Forest for every home game, and just building a community like that, really. But no,
And
just
It's so important. No, it's so important. Sorry to cut across you. And it's a common theme I've found, like when speaking to people on this podcast, that you need to spend time building that network. So you have that problem solving capability. As well, like beyond like say your business partner, or if you're a solopreneur, like beyond yourself. But away from like the practical stuff, just to also disconnect a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a challenge that we hear a lot, is especially when it's your business, because you're more committed to it than anyone else. So knowing when to actually stop and end your work day, especially if you're working at home, because you could just go on all evening if given the opportunity. And I have the same problem. My boyfriend works in hospitality, so he spends all day with customers, and then I work from home and I don't talk to anyone. So when he comes in, I just chew his ear off, and he just goes, "Can you just give me 5 minutes?"
Yeah. No, and I think COVID taught us an awful lot. I mean, I know it's not that long ago, but I still look back and think our children were at home for 8 months, and we just have to cope. But it did teach me a lot. I am not the best person at switching off, so much so that I've had 2 very nice holidays in the last 10 years where actually the first one I did do the invoicing on the beach, but the but my team will create a WhatsApp group without me in it so that I don't respond to things that are going on at home. I have got a lot better. I used to my children needed me more after school, so I always used to go back to work for a couple of hours at 6 o'clock, and now I really, really don't. And actually that transition happened in COVID, quite literally, because I did not have the brain space to be able to be at home with the children all day, try and have some kind of timetable. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to have 2 hours of peace, because I was so used to being by myself all day, every day. And all of a sudden you've got 3 extra people in the house with you. And so actually, I think it's really interesting, because I'm talking about, yes, I've done this to have a better quality of life for me and my family. But at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, you will never work harder, and you will never, ever switch off, not completely. And you have to have some really good boundaries in place to protect not only your mental health, but also, the message that I think you send to your kids. Like, you're talking to them and an email comes in, and actually what mummy's more interested in looking at the phone than talking to me about my day. What's that saying? You have to be quite mindful, I think.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, my daughter, she's only 10 months, but she's already like taken a real interest in my mobile phone because daddy's taken an interest in the mobile phone. They're so impressionable.
So you've been going for 10 years now. So obviously over that time, you started with 2 co-founders and you've grown substantially over the last couple of years. What were the main challenges you sort of faced when you started scaling?
Yeah, I think getting the right people to come and work with you. I think we have a wonderful team, but we have had quite high turnover, I would say, and I don't think that's rare for the type of work that we're asking for. I do think, with the greatest of respect, that most people think they could be a VA. But actually there are real skills that are needed and feedback to be given. So, communication skills is absolutely key. And it's unbelievable how many typos you see in covering letters and CVs. And I'm really sorry, but I'm a real, that's a no for me, because you're representing us, but you're representing our clients' customers. You're being their voice, so it has to be right. For me also, making sure that we have people who are team players. So we aren't a call center. We never want to be a call center, but for our clients who we do nearly all the admin and business support and customer service for, we do offer phone lines. So we have phone shifts, and obviously things happen, like Jon, you said your little girl was ill yesterday, perhaps you get that call from nursery and you've got to go and you're on the phones until 3 o'clock. that actually, if you can, as another member of the team, you will step in and help. And likewise, I think one of our USPs is that we're not just a one-woman band. So if one of our team are ill or they obviously go on holiday, that everything's documented. Other people know the accounts that we look after, and really anybody should be able to step in and be able to take up that account so that our client's business is not disrupted. But you don't always get that with people who are applying, or I found it's funny, isn't it? Because I hear people talk about, oh, young people today, they just don't have the work ethic and etc. etc. And actually I found people of all generations, come through. It's not necessarily
It's a lazy stereotype, I think. Very
really
lazy.
is. So at the moment, we have a lady who works with us who is in her third year at university, and round her lectures, she takes phone calls and helps with admin for our business. And it's really worked for her because she's revising or doing extra work and then the phone goes, etc. And she's 21 and her work ethic is incredible. And I'm really sad because I know at some point she's going to graduate. She's going to go and do her master's in biochemistry. She's not going to work with us forever. And she will need replacing. And that is the aim of the game. And that is our business. We've also had people that we've had to, in the nicest possible way, coach out because we know that they've been with us 5 years and actually they need a new opportunity, but they're not brave enough to take it. And we've also coached out a lady on our team before to go back to a corporate life since having her children. And another mother worked for her great when her babies were young, but actually she needed more that we weren't able to give her. And we really helped build up those skills and confidence to be able to go back to the corporate world. So I would say staff turnover and finding your people and them, building the team within another mother.
I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into that. So one of the things that I've picked up on when I've been doing these interviews is just hiring that first person. Actually, is there's hiring everybody. That's a difficult challenge in itself. But from my observation and from the outside looking in, time and time again, when I've been speaking to small business owners, it's they put a lot of pressure on themselves, like to hire that first person. Can you talk to me about it? Did you feel that way? And also as well, what sort of things would you be advising other small business owners to do if they were looking to hire a member of staff?
So first of all, our team are self-employed. So just to be clear, we asked them all 2 years ago if they wanted to be employed, and they all said no, because they all generally have other jobs and work for multiple clients and IR35, and they all said no. It was easy, them doing their self-assessment, etc., etc. But no, literally, I feel so lucky talking to you now because it wasn't an issue at all. And Sally is still with us. So 9 years on, literally through a contact of a contact, she had small children. She was an amazing accountant, straight bookkeeper. And yeah, it was just really easy. And she does what she's a quieter member of the team, I would say, but she does exactly what's asked for her. I never need to get involved with her clients because they're so happy with everything she does. She has the amount of work she wants. If she doesn't, she'll come to me and say, can I have another client, please? I would love Sally to be with us forever. I'm sure she won't be, but it wasn't difficult. So, but for advice of don't pressure yourself. I would say this is probably with my talent hat on more than my small business one, but I would say, what do you want that person to do, and to be very clear about it. I say to my clients, actually, when we're talking about admin, in a day, write down every single thing you do. Then write down next to it whether you enjoy doing that thing. And then write down to it, can that thing be outsourced? Does that have to be done by you? And then you come up with a list of the things that you can pass on to someone. And I think that's a really good starting point for taking on either an employee or a self-employed contractor to be able to support you with your business. And then what you'll get is, okay, so I've got this list. What skills do I need to be able to make sure that those tasks are achieved? And I would honestly say just meet as many people. It's so easy on Zoom or any other platform for you to just, I might not have a job, but somebody will send me a speculative CV and I'll meet them. It takes 20 minutes to have
And
a
you're in
chat.
their head. They're in your head then, right?
They're in your head. You find out more about them. They find out more about your business. They see if it fits for them as well. It's a two-way thing. But yeah, I would say, do you spend your time? Do you think about it? But don't put pressure on yourself.
So, I mean, from the sounds of it, you've been very lucky. So I'm starting to sound a little bit like a broken record. But looking back, do you think there was any sort of main mistakes that you made that became sort of key learning moments for you moving on?
Definitely have had key learning moments where a client might have said, this isn't working well. And I've really trusted the team member who said, I don't understand what the problem is. I haven't made any mistakes and I haven't done anything wrong, etc., etc. And probably I should have spent more time looking into it and listening to the client. We'd had several difficulties perhaps with them questioning the amount of time things were taking, like, the invoice goes out and the phone's going to ring because it's too high, etc. And I think maybe scaling so quickly means that you don't necessarily have as much time as you'd like to listen to your clients. And I do regret that. And that is also one of the things I never wanted us to become, because actually we grew, in a couple of years to 100 clients. And I never wanted to be one of the big players whereby any of our clients couldn't pick up the phone to me and say, Kate, I've got this issue. And that they had my own number and that it felt personal, because, it's your business. And we say, your business is our baby. We are looking after it like it's one of our own. So essentially, I think maybe taking my eye off the ball, you're busy, that's not an excuse, but making sure that's aligned. And I'm sure we have lost clients that way. And that's a big learning curve for me. And taking on board that feedback. And the most important thing to us as an agency, and as we always say to our team, we're not robots. Mistakes happen. We mess up. What's really important is that you put your hands up. You say sorry. Tell me. And let's learn from what's happened so that it doesn't happen again. What learning can we take from this so we don't replicate it? It doesn't matter so much the mistake, it's how you deal with it afterwards. And I think our clients really appreciate that. And quite often we will, that does happen, and we will have honest and open discussions about that.
Yeah, I think that's something we hear a lot, is how scary it is for business owners to sort of let go of the reins a little and put their trust in someone else. And you're in kind of a unique position where that's sort of your whole business model. And instead of not only are you having to give up the reins within your own business every now and then, you're also having to help other people to trust. So having that personal touch is so important.
Yeah, no, it really is. And we get two types of business owners. We get one who's like, I know I need support because I'm doing everything and I'm working till midnight every night, but I don't want to give you any of it. And do I really have to give you that Gmail password? And we get other businesses that come along and go, I hate it. Take it all. Just run it and tell me what I need to do and get on with it.
Yeah. No, that's a great insight. Thank you. we're coming to the end of the interview. I had a different set of questions, but I actually decided to change course while we were speaking, and I actually want to talk more about VAs, actually in general, and the value that it would bring to small business owners. So, question one is, tell me about the value of VA. For a prospective, small business owner, and what would they get out of it? Just pretending for a second that, they don't know what it is and what it does.
Sure. So a virtual assistant is really somebody to help you with, as I said, kind of the things that you maybe don't like doing, so maybe the things you don't know how to do, or perhaps the things you don't need to do. So, we have a lot of tradesmen who we pick up the phone for so that they don't have to down tools every time, you're plumbing a toilet and the phone goes, and then you get back to it and then the phone goes again. You don't need to be doing that. Somebody can take your calls for you and send you a message, book in a quote, tell you where the next job is, do your calendar management so that you're not going from A to B to C to D, and organise that for you. And also things like, so if we're talking about a tradesperson, many tradespeople work, some people work 6 till 5 every day and then go home and do their invoicing till 10 o'clock and then order their parts, etc., etc. If you can hand over some of that to somebody else to do that, it actually should be cost effective. Not only should it be should be cost neutral, but also if that frees you up for the time that you would have spent doing that invoicing, you can choose what to do with that time. So some of our clients work harder. So we have a lot of animal behaviour consultants, and we actually look after the membership organisation, the Association of Pet Behaviour Counsellors. And a lot of our animal behaviourists will say, well, now I'm not doing the admin and I'm not chasing a vet and I'm not doing the invoicing and I'm not doing the calendar management and I'm not getting that client questionnaire back. I can do another 2 consults a week. And some of these people, some behaviourists are charging hundreds of pounds an hour. We are a lot cheaper than that. So it's a better use of your time to make more money. Likewise, though, if you want to knock off at 1 o'clock and go to the pub with your mates on a Friday, happy days. You choose to do that because you know your business is being looked after by somebody who really cares. And I think that's really the benefit, that it gives you the calm, that it's being looked after. But more than anything, you can't put a price on your time, and we don't get our time back. So you can choose what to do with that additional time.
So let's just say you're choosing a VA in your process of figuring that out. What do you think constitutes, a couple of things here, an organization that provides good VA value, but then going back to the actual individual delivering the services, what characteristics do you think they should have and a small business owner should look out for?
Sure. So I would absolutely look at testimonials, talk to people have they already had any contact with that company? A lot of our referrals have come that way because we're trusted. I would say also, do you want to have one person who looks after your business? What if they are sick? What if they need to go on holiday? Also, looking at the price, there are lots of VAs available in the Philippines who will charge you £5 an hour, and other countries. And I'm not saying they're not any good, but I do believe you get what you pay for. And also think about, is the time zone important to you? Are you needing somebody to answer your emails during UK working hours? It's not a regulated industry, so there's no real accreditation to look out for. But I would say I would be asking about data security. How is your data going to be stored? Because that person will definitely be a processor of your company, even if they're not managing and owning that data. Are they insured? It's really important that they have insurance. And I think, you start up as a VA and you don't realise of these overheads. We spend a lot of money on insurance, including cyber insurance, in case anything goes wrong. And we think about things like, what if Google gets taken out? How, what if the whole of the US data centers, something happens? Have we got something in Europe or the UK that we could make sure our clients are backed up on and safe? And also, if as a VA you are doing more, I believe this is the HMRC current rules, if you are doing more than 10% of your turnover doing bookkeeping, you need to be anti-money laundering regulated, and that costs money as well, which we are. So they're the main things I would be asking if you're looking for a VA. You want somebody who's established, not maybe just dipping their finger in for the first time. If you're looking for somebody to really take care of your business, somebody who knows what they're doing, and that comes with some good referrals.
Thanks for that. I have one last question, actually, because I've been quite greedy with the mic, actually, this last 10 minutes or so. And one thing that you mentioned a minute ago about testimonials really interested me. So when Rose did the research on you folks before we jumped on the call, we noticed that you actually have got so many testimonials, on your, so you practice what you preach, which is a great thing. But what I was more curious about was, you mentioned the yin and yang between you and the other
Anna,
co-founder,
yep.
Anna. Tell us a little bit about your approach to marketing, because one of the things that comes out a lot in these conversations is many small business owners think marketing really sucks, which hurts my fragile marketing ego. But it's just really, difficult and challenging to do. So tell me a little bit about what you do with that, and are any insights that you could share on the things that I know you're not directly involved in it, but you've learned along the way.
Yeah, so I think marketing is needed. So it's one of those things, whether you love it or hate it. And actually, if you hate it, get someone in who knows what they're doing. So we're not a marketing agency. We do not specialize in doing social media, so we're not the right people for you. But we Anna comes from a newspaper and magazine background. She knows marketing. I wouldn't say that we've nailed what we're doing. We've become a little bit lazy because our referrals have come really through word of mouth. We are not on social media as much as we'd like to be. I run social media for one of my clients so much better than I do my own business. So I would honestly say, if you can outsource it, do it, because you want an expert who knows what they're doing. But I think what's really important about marketing generally is knowing your audience. So actually, who are we targeting? We know animal behavior, so we spend a lot of time talking to trainers and behaviorists and veterinary behaviorists. Also, the people you think that need the most support, so tradesmen for sure is on our list. So we try to create content on our website that will speak to those people. And I think with social media, the most important thing is not necessarily just getting something out there every single day on every single platform. And some platforms will resonate to the people you're wanting to get to more than others. Anna loves TikTok. I can't stand TikTok. I'm not sure, TikTok to me is what the 16-year-olds are on, but I believe there is a massive business presence that is increasing, and should we be on it? And she can do what she likes on that. That's absolutely fine. Whereas I will stick more to LinkedIn, and she won't have anything to do with X. Whereas I quite like X. So she doesn't want our business associated with it, which is fine as well. But personally, I'll use it. So I think what's most important, as I was saying, is that you think about what the content is. You don't need to post, you don't want to decrease the value of your product by just getting stuff out there and not really caring what it is. Consistency is key. But I believe the value of your content is really what attracts people and will help people to knock on your door.
Music to my ears as a content writer, a former content writer, a content lead now, but it's so important to get that quality out there. If you're shoveling out something that's not
rubbish,
relevant, low quality, it's just not going to get the eyeballs on it, and ultimately the conversions that you want and need to make your business grow and thrive.
So obviously, so much of what you do is basically giving business owners peace of mind and helping them sort of create some sort of work-life balance. Running a business takes a toll on your well-being in general. How have you managed to sort of balance the physical and mental demands, and how do you sort of stop yourself from burning out?
Very badly. No. I'm somebody who is very self-aware. I've suffered from postnatal depression twice, and I actually mentor women who are going through it. And I think it's really key to know kind of the cycle that you might go through of burnout. And I think that takes a little bit of getting used to. Like once you've become burnt out a few times, you start to notice the signs, and it can be really little, like snapping at your kids, or you got a takeaway and the pizza size was wrong and you have a meltdown about it. Like it can be really small, but recognizing that and then putting in that pause and saying, actually, I would normally go back to my type, which would be, right, I'm feeling stressed, I need to work harder, I need to do more. And actually, for me personally, I need to take a step back, and I need to either go, I'm going to go and watch that film, or I'm going to go for a walk and just be in nature and listen to the birds and etc., or I'm going to go and do something with my kids that we hadn't planned. Like, come on, let's go to the cinema, let's go for that walk, let's do that. And really kind of understanding what your body needs, and also like to practice what I preach. If you're getting to that point, who can you delegate to? I know there are loads of solopreneurs there that might not have anyone, but even having a conversation with somebody, sometimes we have, like, I'm not a hard pitch seller, but sometimes we'll have a conversation with someone who's just like, I know I need to do something, but I don't know what to do. And you have a chat and they say, oh my goodness, already I feel the weight has lifted off my shoulders slightly, Kate. Like, go and chat to another business person and talk about the problems that you're finding, and see if, through peer networking, you can come up with a solution, or see if somebody else can help you, or just
because there's other people who are in the same boat, right?
everyone.
So entrepreneurs, you're all in the same boat. You all have the very similar sort of problems. So a problem shared is a problem solved, halved even.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not easy right now. I know that our team are self-employed, but Anna and I aren't. We're going through the national insurance and the employee contributions and etc. And it doesn't feel very easy, and it doesn't feel very fair right now. But everyone's going through that in the UK. And let's talk about it, and let's try and make each other feel better, and let's support each other as well in the UK, so that we're using each other's resources. I always say, I'll meet people and then I'll go, oh yeah, I know a good window cleaner, or yes, I know somebody who does social media content, etc. And it's just all about building those kind of foundations and those connections with other people to all try and help each other out, really.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. Final couple of questions from me then, and then we'll wrap. Long term, what's the plan for your business, do you think?
Ooh. I don't know is the honest answer. We're definitely in it for another 10 years. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep building. We're franchising. We've got 2 franchises right now. People can buy a business in a box, have Anna and I on tap to have that support to build their own and replicate our success locally to where they live. So that's going really, really well. I think for me, I don't know, because because I've changed so much in since, what have I been working, 25 years, less than that, how can I tell what is going to happen in that time? An opportunity might come back, like I still love music and radio. I don't think I'll ever get back on the radio, and I don't think I
But who
really want
knows?
to.
I never
But
say never.
I was ahead of music and I loved that. And I love listening to new music, is everything to me. So maybe one day I'll do something. Who knows? Who knows? But I don't have to choose. That's the beauty of it. If my husband lost his job tomorrow, I probably have to go and get a corporate job and try and run this business on the side. You know, we're blessed with our health right now, but I just don't think you can plan.
That's fair. That's fair. Great insight for sure. Next question for me is really the question I ask everybody at this stage, right at the end, and it's what's the one piece of advice you could give to your younger self?
Be more confident. Be more confident in my own abilities. Yeah, absolutely. I see the confidence in my kids, and I'm, sometimes actually have to rein them in a little bit. That's a little bit cocky, careful on now. But
Do you think that's a generational thing?
I don't know, or I don't know. I don't know. I think the kids are a little bit more outspoken. If I encourage my children to be open, but I do think if actually I said some of those things to my mum in the 90s, I might have got a clip down the ear, like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just so proud of their confidence, and I wish I had that kind of growing up. And I know teenage years, everyone goes through a tough time, and their early 20s, but just the belief that I could do it, and it is enough, and I am enough, and what we've created is enough, is what I would have liked to have heard, I think.
Amazing insight. Final question: where can we learn more about you and your business?
You can find us online. We're at www.anothermotheradmin.co.uk. You can also find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And you can email me anytime, info@anothermotheradmin.co.uk. I'd love to hear from you.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for that, Kate, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really lovely to speak with you. We really did grill you today. We did a really good job, I think. A huge thanks to Kate for joining us today on Small Business Diaries. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, and share this episode with your peers and colleagues. You never miss a moment of valuable business insight. Let us know what you think about the episode in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.